Before this video gets started, I have to say that this is an update to my review of Sonic the Hedgehog. There is some updated information I feel like I should share with Sonic Origins actually coming out. I won't do this for every new version of a game, but since this one is major with a lot of new stuff added, I feel like it was necessary. Please, watch my original video before watching this one. It would make the most sense. Thank you, and let's get this started. So, remember how in the last video I said Sonic Origins was basically in limbo? Literally a month later, we got an official trailer for it, and later that June, it came out. I actually didn't pick it up until December. Why, you may ask? Well, we need to get into Sonic Origins as a whole to paint the picture here. Sonic Origins is a complete mess of a compilation, to say the absolute least, which is insane to me because you would figure they would not mess up some of the most popular games of all time, but who are we kidding? It's Sega we're dealing with. So, yeah. Sonic Origins was literally rushed, confirmed by the devs of the game too, and it really shows. Something that always stood out to me was this intro, specifically when the logos appear on the screen. It literally looks like PNGs are falling into place. Hell, I can do the same thing and make it look better than Origins does. Not to mention, the animations in my opinion look really rushed for the most part. Not saying I dislike them, quite the opposite actually. They seem just stiff compared to Sonic Mania Adventures, which is a shame because I actually really like them. Sonic Origins, in my opinion, is a death by 1,000 paper cuts. There's no major overglaring issues with the game, it's just a whole bunch of little things that really bother me. Keeping it brief, a few of them are the complete lack of customization, Knuckles not being playable in CD, and yes, I know he's being put into Plus, but he should have been there since the start. The 2011 menus from CD just being there for some reason and really looking out of place. Not being able to toggle having lives in anniversary mode. Sonic 3 as a whole, just wait for my Sonic 3 video if you want to know why, and overall added bugs and weird collision issues that just weren't there in the other versions. And many more. That's why I didn't get the game until it was on sale during Christmas time, and even then it was an impulse purchase. I only purchased my games physically. Now, I'm not trying to make a why Sonic Origins sucks video, trust me, that will come later. I just feel like it was important to go to the game as a whole before jumping straight into the Sonic 1 part of the game. And truth be told, the only reason why I'm making this video in the first place is because there were some things I actually forgot to mention in the original video. So, with that all out of the way, welcome to NNC Revisits, a sub-series to my review series where I go back to look at a game, whether a new version came out and I felt like it was a big enough change to go back, or just my opinion changing with time, which, you know, believe it or not, can actually happen to people who play games and not just watch games on YouTube. But that's enough talk. Let's go back to Sonic 1 and see what changes are apparent. Like it or not, this version of the game is how thousands and potentially millions of people are going to experience. So having people play the Christian Whitehead version of the game was the best option. Now, I personally don't mind playing the game in 4.3 on the Genesis, but I know a lot of people do. Not to mention these are remasters, so things like the speed cap and spike glitch are non-existent here. So right off the bat, if you haven't played Sonic 1 before, this is the version I think people should play. As much as it pains me to say that. Origins provides 3 ways to play this game. Anniversary, basically the mobile port with a few changes. Classic, which by the title you would assume that it's the original game, but it's just a mobile port in 4x3, but hey, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. And Mirror Mode, which is exactly how described. Most of the big changes are in Anniversary mode, so let's start there. First and foremost, they gave the game cutscenes. I think they look great. Now, I personally always disliked the more cutesy style that Classic Sonic has been given ever since he was made into his own character. Like, guys, Classic Sonic is cute, yes, but he was always cool first. Even Naoto Oshima said this. In fact, he was worried when some people called him more cute than cool. Something like Sonic and Mania Adventures? Way too cutesy for me. Not saying it's bad by any means, but I like my Classic Sonic to look more cooler. Like the recent IDW Seasons of Chaos comic, which basically acts the sequel to Sonic Mania, is the perfect balance between this. A bit more lighthearted than the modern Sonic, but still really cool, not like the borderline Cocomelon Sonic we've been getting in recent years. These cutscenes hit the same mark for me. I especially like the ending cutscene. Very cool stuff. Oddly enough, I think the quality of the animation could be better. Ironically, compared to Sonic Mania Adventures, it just seems a bit stiff at times, but it gets the job done, and honestly, it's cool to see these games get cutscenes at all. In this collection, all of the games have saves, which I like them in concept. Honestly, I really appreciate how they didn't offer any save states with this game. It only saves on an act-to-act basis, which is really sweet and is something that even a gross purist like me can get down with. But to get nitpicky, it really bothers me how I can't just do a no save. I have to go through like 3 different screens before starting a game. and sometimes the Mega Drive games are the games I play and beat in a sitting as fast as I can, so having to go through like a million different things can get pretty annoying at times. But I understand that this is just me being kind of petty, and it doesn't really matter too much. In fact, I can see a lot of people enjoying it this way. More or less, the base game has remained largely the same, which I think we were all expecting, but as many people including me were hoping, we now have the drop dash. This, when it works, is so much fun. If you thought the spin dash broke Sonic 1, oh boy, you clearly haven't used the drop dash. It feels so good to use. Again, when it works. Why do I keep saying that? What do I mean by that? Well, for some reason, sometimes you can't control it when you go in midair. Through my testing, it usually happens when you're holding forward on a D-pad as you jump, but still, this was never an issue in Sonic Mania, or hell, even the other games on this very same collection, so what gives? Why does it not work here? Did they not just have time to finish it completely? It makes no sense whatsoever, but when it actually works, it's really fun. Just please fix this issue in Sonic Mania Plus, please! Oh, also, a lot of people complain about the animation for Sonic when he uses the drop dash. Honestly, I think it looks cool. It looks like the drop dash if it was in Sonic 1, so I never really had an issue with it. Sonic 1 sprites were really limited anyway, so it looking like this makes sense to me. The drop dash really adds a new level of fun while playing Sonic 1. It makes some of the more stale parts more interesting. Now, the most controversial change to these games for me is the new coin system. Instead of lives, you get coins. What do coins do? Well, they let you redo a special stage if you mess up. Well, I think it's a good idea to add a retry to special stages for those who are not good at classic Sonic games. I just think this concept goes way too far. The special stages are hard, but they're not that hard. And speaking on the other games, it's just laughable if someone needs to retry these stages more than once or twice. But for Sonic 1, sure, the purist in me screams, but he can shut up because I want people to actually have fun with these games. Maybe if anything, they should have limited the amount of retries, maybe 3 per special ring. Now, the thing that upsets me the most about the coins is the fact they replace lives. Now, a lot of you guys may argue that lives are just silly in modern games, and yes, I totally agree 100%. Some of my favorite platformers of the last 10 years like Mario Odyssey and Sonic Frontiers don't use lives, and I never bat an eye. But the difference here is that in the Genesis games, you were rewarded with lives for going out of the way to get to a secret area, or maybe getting a crazy amount of points, or for getting 100 rings, and even doing good in special stages. There's nothing quite like the satisfaction I get whenever I do really good in a special stage and I'm rewarded with extra lives, and continues. In fact, I love seeing how high my number can get whenever I play Sonic 3, but since lives are gone now, it just doesn't feel nearly as rewarding of doing any of these things. Like, yes, functionally, you still do get something, but it's not something I ever need. A large amount of lives is a really good thing because you could mess up a bunch of times. Likely or not. But for someone like me, who are really good at the classic games that the special stages are just cakewalks, getting a retry to a special stage I'm already too good at to fail doesn't do anything for me at all. This would be a total non-issue if you could just toggle this in a setting, like swapping coins for lives, but you literally can't, and it makes zero sense to me. I really hope this gets fixed in Plus, because it honestly hinders a lot of the fun I can have with this game. So much so that I just stick with the classic mode most of the time, even if I can't use the drop dash. Speaking on classic mode, I should talk about that too. Why, you may ask? Well, it's simple. This is not a classic mode at all. It's literally just the mobile port. But in 4.3, this honestly made me laugh out loud when I first heard of this. This is absolutely insane. Why? Was putting a literal ROM in the game so hard? These special stages remain the same. Some of the issues I have with the mobile ports in general are still here. It just doesn't make sense. But hey, at least we have lives again. And the spin dash for Sonic 1? I don't think that was in the original Genesis game, but honestly, I'm actually kind of grateful for it. To me, this is like playing the Saturn version. That's pretty cool to me. Lastly for modes, we have Mirror Mode. I don't have much to say on this other than it's pretty sweet. It gives hardcore players such as myself a change up, and I gotta say, playing it really trips me out, and I'm all for it. Maybe I'll beat the game like this someday. I know a lot of people like their mirror modes in games and Master Quests and whatnot, so this should tickle their fancy. Since we got a lot of the major changes from Origins out of the way, I just wanted to bring up some of the things I forgot to put in the original video, because there was actually a lot more to the mobile remaster than I originally let on. Not for any particular reason, I just didn't know they were there, believe it or not. I don't think any of you could actually blame me. I really don't mind playing these games on the Genesis, so I never really paid too much attention to the phone versions. The thing I'm most embarrassed about is not knowing that there is in fact they added a 7th special stage, and by proxy, a 7th emerald. This is sweet. Now, the special stage itself, It's shit, but getting to be Supersonic in Sonic 1 is super surreal to me, pun not intended. I never tried this before making this video. Blowing through Labyrinth Zone, and especially Starlight as Supersonic, made that playthrough one of the most fun I've had with Sonic 1 in a long time. There's no new ending with it, but honestly that's not really a problem to me at all, and if it's a problem to anyone, it's probably just a nitpick at best.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're entitled to your own opinion.
The thing I'm second most embarrassed about not knowing is the fact you can actually switch on the elemental shields. Honestly, I had zero idea, and I don't know how I didn't know about this. This is so sick. Again, using these in Sonic 1 of all games is so surreal. But I think the bubble shield takes the cake here. They did it, guys. They actually made Labyrinth Zone actually tolerable. Not having to worry about losing air and waiting for a bubble makes things so much quicker. Of course, there's still elements of the zone I hate, but it makes it really fun for me to play. On top of the elemental shields, you can switch on a bunch of different settings. For example, the spike glitch, no spin dash, and the speed cap, which this was actually really funny to me to see these features, you know, as if those features were actually missed. Well, there you go. Hey, what's this? Sonic 3? Interesting. Wait a minute. Does that mean the Insta-Shield in Sonic 1? Why wasn't this in the game originally? This is amazing, and it works exactly like it does in Sonic 3. God, I love Sonic 3. And you can use the drop dash at the same time? This is what I wanted in Sonic Mania. Why couldn't Sonic just have everything from the get-go? This is so cool. That was genuinely my reaction to this. I really don't understand why the Insta-Shield is something you have to equip. It should be like the drop dash, something that Sonic just has, and if you don't like it, you can just turn it off. In fact, I wish all of these changes, Supersonic, Elemental Shields, and other abilities were just in the game from the get-go. I understand that something like this is not like the original, but the drop dash wasn't in the original, and the bubble shield makes the game a lot more fun, so why not? Not to mention, hiding it in the sound test and level select just makes it really confusing. It should just be in the options for Origins. I mean, I know why it is the way it is, because it's just a leftover from the mobile port, because of course they couldn't put a little effort into making on the menu and the actual game selection, but whatever. Even with all of its questionable elements, the mobile remaster and the Origins port are still the objectively best way to play the original games. Officially, that is. Widescreen and no speed cap seals the deal, no questions asked. And I know people will mention things like Sonic 1 forever, and I can agree that this is the version of the game that you should probably play. Every issue I had with Origins is literally addressed and fixed within that fan game. But the matter of the fact is that's just a fan game. While I will make a few exceptions, I want to look at all of the official versions of the game. An argument about Origins isn't countered by saying that you should play a fan game. Well, again, yes, it is better. I want the official version to be as best as it can be, and that's why I haven't mentioned it up until now. But if you want my personal opinion, you know, review objectives aside, play Sonic 1 forever. Just do it. Also, a lot of you may ask why I still prefer to play the original Genesis versions over the literal, in every single way, better version of the game. And well, I know the answer is wrong, but it's just how I personally feel. A lot of people let their nostalgia cloud their judgment. For example, people who grew up with Sonic Adventure DX over the original SA1 Dreamcast version say that it's better just because they grew up with it, you know, and they got it when they were 6. But for me, I just really get a kick out of seeing the progression of my favorite series, and just video games in general. That's why I just recently played Final Fantasy VII on the original PS1 over buying the remake, literally this year. Why? Well, I wanted to see what the original is all about, and same thing for a lot of games and their remakes. I just really enjoy playing a game on its original console on the CRT. I know not everyone wants to keep around a 30-year-old TV and their 30-year-old game systems. Some may say that authentic feeling is just an illusion, and I'm not trying to argue anything here. I'm just saying, illusion or not, that's the way I like to play my games. I am a retro gamer at heart, a 40-year-old trapped in a 21-year-old's body, but again, I won't let this cloud my judgment. Play the remasters. It's the way to go for Sonic 1. The other games, though, that's another story for another time. More or less, that is everything that Sonic Origins introduced for Sonic 1. Obviously, with the release of Sonic Origins Plus next month, there is room for that to change, biggest being Amy. But I'm fairly confident that not much will change for Sonic 1, so that's why I'm comfortable making this video shortly before the release of Origins Plus. And if off the up chance some big changes are apparent, I will address them in the Sonic 2 video. Before I wrap up this video, I wanted to go ahead and address one particular opinion I had in the original video. So, Marble Zone. In the last few months, I've seen a lot of people coming out of nowhere saying that Marble Zone is actually good because you can go fast in that level. It's just not really meant for you to do so, mostly being this one part where you can jump off the blocks and go up to the top. Well, yes, in theory, you can play the game faster during those segments, but there's also a lot more segments where you do literally nothing and can't proceed forward without waiting. I actually know someone who's a Marble Zone offender, and they say the same thing, but again, there's only elements of truth to this claim. If you still enjoy the zone anyway, that's great. That's what different opinions are for.
You're entitled to your own opinion.
I'm just saying that the claim that you can play the zone normally is very false. Not to mention, I feel like some people like Marble Zone just because others don't. So basically what I'm saying is that yes, I can concede that there are parts of Marble Zone that you can go fast in. It's not bad all of the time, but the fact of the matter is that most of the level is just waiting and slow platforming, meaning it goes against the original design elements of the Genesis Sonic games, and I still stand by my original opinion. What about my other takes? Do I still stand by them too? Definitely, Sonic 1 is the first Sonic game. I know, original opinion, right? But seriously, think about it. This game was made by a bunch of numbnuts who didn't know what they were doing, and it turned out to be really good for its time, and that's something truly special. Because that team, they had passion. Sonic 1 has its place, but that being said, if it wasn't the first game in the series, I likely wouldn't go back to it, unless it was for a marathon or something. Alright, so the next big question is, where on earth is my Sonic 2 video? It's coming, guys. I just wanted to apologize about the absence. Life got a bit crazy for me, but I am back and itching to crank out some more videos. Of course, if you want to hear from me pretty much every day, go check out my Instagram and Twitter. Links in my bio. Also, I'm trying to work on starting to stream very soon, so look out for that. But with that being said, Nick here from NNC signing out. See you guys next time for the review of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Sega Genesis.